I think I absolutely think the resilience is there. I think it's important to have fun as well. And anyway folks can express themselves. I think net goes back to the main idea of like how do we create a native currency for the internet? Anything that goes towards that path, like that's whatever wackiness or fun we can have along the way. That's going to make it a lot more enjoyable, and it's going to make a lot more people want to use it.
I'd also point out there's nothing stopping someone from creating a Bitcoin wallet that's like fun and has memes, has dogs. That's possible as well. Great. Let's move on.
Right now at this point.
Let's move on to the next topic, which is Bitcoin and energy. It's a really hot topic that lots of people are talking about. Let's start with Elon. You've been vocal on this. You've said that. I mean, you said many things about it. You've also said that Tesla will resume payments in Bitcoin payments if the renewable energy is approximately 50% and sort of looks like it's on a positive future trend. What do you think the state of things are with respect to that?
Yeah, so I do think that there appears to be a positive trend in the energy usage of Bitcoin. Actually, part of this is due to the drop in Bitcoin price. I mean, what I observed, or what I thought I was seeing, there may be some disagreements on this, but from when Tesla announced that it had acquired Bitcoin and was doing Bitcoin transactions, there was a massive run-up in the Bitcoin price, and also a massive increase in the amount of energy used to mine Bitcoin. And I think I understand renewable energy quite a bit. I mean, Tesla does solar and interacts with a lot of wind generation through our mega pack, because basically need to store energy from wind and from solar. So we're pretty plugged into the renewable energy industry. And there was just no way that you could basically double or triple the amount of energy in such a short period of time with renewables. You could shovel coal that fast. And so I was like, look, this is too sketchy. Tesla's mission is accelerating the advent of sustainable energy. We can't be the company that does that and also not do appropriate diligence on the energy usage of Bitcoin. So all I did was I said, look, we're going to suspend Bitcoin transactions for now. We're not selling any Bitcoin, nor am I selling anything personally, or nor is SpaceX selling any Bitcoin. Again, I want to emphasize SpaceX, Tesla, and I own Bitcoin. I also own a little bit of Ethereum and Doge, but the companies just own Bitcoin, and the Bitcoin that I own is worth much more than the Ethereum or Doge. So clearly, if I'm if these actions negatively affect me financially, if I was purely financially motivated, then I would not express this reticence about Bitcoin energy usage. Now, it looks like Bitcoin is shifting a lot more towards renewables, and a bunch of the heavy-duty coal plants that were being used, unequivocally being used, this is not a question mark, have been shut down, especially in China. So I think it's probably, we want to do a little bit more diligence to confirm confirm that the percentage of renewable energy usage is most likely sort of at or above 50%, and that there is a trend towards increasing that number. And if so, then Tesla will resume accepting Bitcoin. So I think we want to just do a little bit more diligence, and I think, but most likely the answer is that Tesla would resume accepting Bitcoin, most likely.
That's good to hear. I would agree with that. Kathy?
Yeah, may I ask a question? Elon, I'm not quite sure if you saw the paper that Square and ARK did together on making Bitcoin mining a part of a utility, a broad-based utility ecosystem, whereby, the overage from sunshine or wind powers the Bitcoin mining machine, thereby enabling the proliferation of renewables to a much faster extent, or at a faster rate than otherwise would be the case. What do you think of that?
Well, the problem is that in order to operate so-called mining or hashing rigs, in order to operate a bunch of hashing rigs, effectively, you have to run them 24/7, which means you need base load. You can do that with solar and wind plus battery, but if you only did it based on solar wind overage, your hashing rig utilization would be much less. So you'd be at a disadvantage.
Sure,
Hydro or geothermal are great for as renewable means. I'm also pro nuclear. I think modern nuclear power plants are safe, contrary to what people may think. I really think it's possible to make very, very extremely safe nuclear. I'm talking about fission. You don't need fusion. And then, of course, fusion. You just got that big fusion reactor in the sky called the sun. It comes up every day. But I think a combination of solar and wind plus stationary storage will get you that base load, so you can run hashing 24/7.
Jack, I'm curious. You've stated that Bitcoin incentivizes renewable energy. That's what we're talking about now. Do you have any additional thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, everything that Elon said and Kathy mentioned, but it's also incentivizing a lot of innovation in just energy space, and just like looking at unused energy. There's a company called Great American Mining that caps the methane flares on oil fields to power their rigs. And you just imagine, and you mentioned nuclear, Elon, as well, and just imagine all the unused energy that is just being wasted every single day. And being able to get that energy and converting it into a secure, sound money system for the planet feels like a worthy trade-off. And that's the sort of incentive that I think is most powerful, is like, how do we reuse what is being currently just dumped on the ground and wasted and not considered, and how do we do that at scale? And I think that's a bigger conversation that I think is missing. But I agree with everything that Elon has said, and also the paper we put forth.
I'm curious if any of you have thoughts on how what the industry can do to accelerate the transition to renewable energy. And like Elon specifically, could Tesla Energy or Starlink play a role?
Well, I think Tesla can play a role. Tesla's literal reason for existence. The reason I've put so much of my life energy into Tesla, which is a lot. In fact, I would say that I've had some pretty tough life experiences, and Tesla is responsible for probably 2/3 of all personal and professional pain combined. Just to give you a sense of perspective there. So this is a hella hard situation. But we do solar, commercial solar, solar retrofit, as well as the solar roof, and we make consumer battery packs called Powerwall for houses and small businesses, and then the utility scale, which are gigantic. We've done now a number of gigawatt hour installations. That's a lot. That's a lot. And a lot of them actually have been for load leveling the grid. Mostly they are, and combined with the first really big one we did, which is 100 megawatt installation in Australia. That's actually helped stabilize a huge portion of the South Australian grid, because it's able to react so fast. In fact, at first, because they've got a billing system in Australia that I think works at the sort of millisecond level, and we were operating at the microsecond level. So the system was operating so fast that the measuring system couldn't see it. But so Tesla's certainly doing a lot to enable renewables, especially wind and solar. And in fact, the limiting factor for us right now is cell production. So we need to both internally get the Tesla internal battery cells produced, as well as increase supply from suppliers. I mean, generally when I talk to our suppliers and they say, how many cells would you like us? Like, how many cells can you make? Because sometimes they're like concerned, like, well, is Tesla going to compete with them on cells? I'm like, no. If you want to make the cells, be our guest.